So, I have a joke. It's really bad.
Okay.
Okay. So, Bill and George were walking down the street. And George was talking to Bill. And Bill says, "What? I can't hear you. I got a pickle in my ear." I don't even know if that's a joke.
I'm going to go on a limb and say it's not.
It's funny.
Yeah. I got one. This is a throw out to my my cousin Lynn. You know what I saw?
What?
You know what I heard?
She.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you call a man with no arms and no legs in the water?
Bob.
Bob.
I've heard all these. That's why I know them.
What do you call a cow with 2 legs? Lean beef.
Oh. I haven't heard that one.
The well is endless. Anyway, welcome back again to our show here. I am Tim.
I'm Elayne.
And we are Mr. and
Mrs.
Movies. We're here with episode 3, wrapping up our week here. So we thought it would be fun to dive in another one of our suggestions from our comment boards to do our favorite comedies. So we have taken some time. There is a long list. This is one of our favorite genres.
Oh, yes.
Elayne had a very difficult time narrowing it down to just 3.
Yeah.
Apparently I was being a stickler. She wanted to do 5, then it was 4, but we got it to 3. So, in the effort of efficiency, why don't you kick us off with your number 3?
My number 3 is Spy. This came out a couple of years ago. It is just downright hilarious. Jason Statham. See, I always pronounce it wrong. Sorry. His character is hilarious. And Melissa McCarthy, she is great. And Jude Law is amazing. And Rose Byrne. That's not how I would pronounce it.
It's all right.
It's good I'm not doing that. The whole storyline is hilarious. She's works for like the CIA as like a computer analyst person, and ends up for some reason getting pulled into the field, and it's quite funny. It is
really
funny.
It's not a very clean movie.
No, it's filthy. It's so sad, and it's one of my favorites. But yeah, it has some serious language, and that's why it's rated R. I believe is because of all the severe language. Yeah. But oh yeah, it's so good. Oh.
All right, good.
So good.
All right, my number 3, a film that I was expecting to mildly enjoy and ended up loving and actually wanting to like hang out with most of the characters in the film, would be kind of the launch for Emma Stone's career, Easy A.
Yes.
This is a modern take on the Scarlet Letter with a teen comedy tilt to it. So it brings in a lot of references to a lot of those 80s films that we all know and love. You know, Pretty in Pink, Breakfast Club, Say Anything. All of them are incorporated into this. Emma Stone is a star in the making in this film. She is witty and hysterical and serious, and her family, Stanley Tucci and Patricia Clark, are just fantastic.
One of the scenes is where a boy comes over, and that part's just really funny. But then they ask for, "Is Olive home?" And her mom goes, "Well, of course, I have a whole jar of them." Because her name's Olive.
It's a really, really funny movie. Again, took me by surprise, and I've really been a fan of Emma Stone's ever since.
Yes,
because
me
she
too.
took a movie that could be middling at best and made it really, really,
so
really
good. So good. My number 2 is Happy Gilmore. Throwing it back. Gosh, I love golf, and I didn't actually start to love golf until I met my husband. But I loved this movie prior to that, mostly because I'm a huge fan of Adam Sandler. And this movie just kicked it out of the park for me. He was a hockey player that couldn't play hockey anymore and decided to pick up golf. And his swing is really hard to do. I've tried several attempts to do his swing. I don't know how he does it.
When my back is good, I can actually do it. My brother-in-law would be able to verify this. We did it at the driving range right before his wedding, and I was actually hitting him a good 250, 260 out there.
Well, there you go.
Not Happy Gilmore, hole in one and a par 4 kind of length, but
Yes.
still.
And then the fact that he brings in Bob Barker from The Price is Right is just...
The Pro-Am, yeah.
is hilarious. And I grew up watching The Price is Right, and so seeing him on there, and it's just, that scene is really funny.
Mm-hmm.
But good lines in here. It's so funny. So, my number 2.
All right. My number 2 is probably a much, much lesser known film, but also well worth the watch.
Oh, for sure.
It is Noises Off. This is actually a 1992 Peter Bogdanovich film based off of a stage play of the same name. I know that my sister does not like this movie or the show, but probably because she worked it backstage and the show can get repetitive if you're working it. But watching it, it's actually the tale of a haphazardly put together and very unorganized set of actors trying to put on a show.
Theater show.
And none of them know their lines, and it's the night before opening.
It's so funny.
Everything goes poorly, and
Sardines!
it's just the tale of how things go bad to worse to even worse.
Yes.
And everyone's spot on. The cast is actually fantastic. Michael Caine, Carol Burnett, Julia Haggerty, John Ritter, Nicholas Sheridan, Christopher Reeve, Mary Lou Henner, Denholm Elliott. Like, the list just is endless. Every person is cast perfectly. One of my favorite comedic performances of all time is John Ritter in this film, bringing a perfect mix of his wordplay and physical comedy.
And Christopher Reeve's character is hilarious too. Oh my gosh, he plays so dumb. It's so good.
It's so good. Have a watch. Well worth the time.
Yes. Now, my number 1 is throwing it back even farther to Tommy Boy. Well, not that far, but farther than my number 2, I mean, is Tommy Boy. I love the dynamic between Chris Farley and David Spade. They're so funny, and I so many times have sang the little song of Fat Guy in a Little Coat.
Don't do it, you're gonna rip it.
Yep. So good. And I have countless times have knocked on doors and said, "Housekeeping! You want to make Todd pillow?" Just, oh gosh. So many good lines. And I love this movie. So funny.
Yes.
Grew up watching it. Well, without my mom knowing. I grew up watching this. It was also my brother's favorite film too, which is probably why I liked it, because I wanted to be like my brother, and so I wanted to like his movies, and that was this one. I used to own it on VHS as well, and then I upgraded to Blu-ray. So
yes, not so much here, but like right here. Just check it out.
Oh man,
well worth it. So my number 1, I have actually lent out to somebody. I was looking on the shelf. I don't see it here, but it is and has been my number 1. It's in my top 20 of all time as any film. So obviously it's my number 1 for comedies, and that is the John Cusack-led Grosse Pointe Blank. Also, maybe more of a deeper cut for some people. It is the story of a...
Isn't he a hitman?
He's a hitman who left on the night of his senior prom to join the army, and nobody has heard from him since, and he's now going back home to Michigan, Grosse Pointe, for his 10-year high school reunion.
10-year, okay.
He's kind of lost his taste for the industry of, being an assassin, and he's trying to find his morals again, and it's a dark comedy, but it's
quite funny.
It's fantastic.
Yes.
John Cusack, Joan Cusack, Minnie Driver,
oh, yes.
Alan
She's in
Arkin,
that too.
Jeremy Piven,
Oh,
Dan Aykroyd.
oh yes.
Yeah. It's really, really good. and surprising. And one of my favorite stories about it is because it's been my favorite comedy for a while, when I had the opportunity to work on Thin Ice here in Minnesota with Alan Arkin. We were sitting around having lunch one day, and we all started getting to talking about what our favorite comedy was. And I mentioned that this was mine, and he looked up from his meal. I was like, I know, Alan, you're in that one. That's not why I said it. But he plays the psychiatrist for John Cusack's character, who's wrestling with, should I continue to kill people or not? And his psychiatrist no longer wants to work with him, but he keeps showing up, so he feels threatened, and the dynamic is fantastic. And Alan mentioned that when he was originally offered the part, he hated it, didn't like what was written. So the director said, how about we just get you and John on a call, and we'll just ad-lib, and we'll see what comes up. And if you like it, you do it. If not, we'll find something.
And he did it.
And he did it, and basically
everything
that they did on that phone call is in the movie, and it's really well done. So, Gross Point Blank.
Gross Point Blank.
So, quick recap.
Okay, so number 3 was Spy, Happy Gilmore, and then Tommy Boy.
And mine, Easy A, Noises Off, and as I just mentioned, Gross Point Blank. Hope you like this one. Feel free to drop any comments or likes. I'll also share our video out so more people can get the word of Mr. and Mrs. Movies. But thanks for watching once again, and feel free to let us know if you have any suggestions for next time.
Yeah.
Thanks.